guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for being here this week. So this week's video is going to be another really easy recipe. It's going to be a cookie recipe, but a healthy cookie recipe. And this recipe is made with pumpkin and applesauce, oats. We've got just very simple ingredients that pretty much everyone has on hand, because to me that is super important, especially now during COVID. You don't want to be going to a million stores to pick up items. So I like to focus on things that are readily available, that most people have, and that's what we're doing in this recipe. So I call these my breakfast cookies. Why? Because they are loaded with nutrition and they are super portable and easy to carry around with you. So why not bring something like this with you on the go? So if you're in a hurry, it's better to just take something with you. And I like oatmeal pretty much every morning, so this is a good alternative. So if I'm not having the oatmeal, I'm gonna have an oatmeal cookie, but it's a breakfast cookie and it's loaded with a lot of nutrients, and I don't feel bad about having it. I am going to be writing in the recipe with flax in it, or you can use psyllium husks. If you do not use any nuts and seeds in your diet at all, then you can just not add that in. It's not a big deal. It will still turn out perfectly. But if you want to add the extra flax for the extra omegas, then throw that in as well, and also the psyllium husk as well, because it's great for digestion. And I like to incorporate that in my home, just because there's some of us that need the extra fiber at home, so I always make sure that I add something like that into the cookies. So thanks again for watching, and let's just get into the video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. We are going to make a healthy dessert. So these are my breakfast cookies, and they're made with pumpkin and applesauce and oats, and they are just super easy to whip up. Anybody can make these, and you can also substitute ingredients, which I love. So if you don't have pumpkin, you can use squash. If you don't have squash, you can use something else. All these ingredients are really easy to find, and most people actually would probably have them already in their pantry, which is fantastic. So you're just gonna need a large bowl, and I'm just adding in my oats to my bowl, and these are an organic oat, and they're also gluten-free. Use whatever you have available to you. And then of course my canned pumpkin, and this is just pumpkin. It's not pumpkin pie filling, so be careful. Just find just the actual pumpkin in the can, and I just order it from Amazon, just because Whole Foods is not around the corner for me anymore, so it's a little more difficult to get there, but I can still order it from Amazon, luckily. So this is a one bowl recipe, which I like too, so there's less cleanup for later. I'm just adding some pure vanilla extract as well, and then I'm going in with the applesauce. So if you don't have just applesauce, you could use peach sauce or whatever you have available to you. Just make sure it's unsweetened. I'm going ahead and adding pure maple syrup as well as my sweetener, because I want everybody to be able to eat these, and I could eat it without it, but my kids might not. So I'm going to go ahead and add that maple syrup, and there are a lot of health benefits to pure maple syrup, so I'm not going to feel bad about it. So I'm adding organic cinnamon now to the mix, and I add quite a bit. You don't have to add as much as I do, but I love cinnamon in these cookies. And also a little bit of nutmeg. If you had nutmeg, it would really work really nice with these cookies. They kind of have a fall vibe to them, but I'm really enjoying them right now as a quick breakfast cookie on the go. So yeah, you're going to give that a nice good mix, and then this is actually optional. You don't have to add them in, but again, I want my kids to be able to eat it as well. So I know they're going to like those vegan chocolate chips, so I just put some of those mini vegan chocolate chips in, and then I'm combining everything really well. If you like dry fruit, like if you wanted to put a raisin in it, I'm sure it would be perfectly fine as well in this recipe instead of adding the chocolate chips. And that would also be really nice in this, breakfast recipe kind of cookie. So I think whatever you have available to you will honestly really work well. If you don't have something, don't obsess about not having it. Just find an alternative, or just skip it completely and don't add it in. It's not the end of the world. I'm sure the cookie will still turn out. Just don't stress about it is what I'm basically saying here. So again, I am adding in that flax, and I'm not adding that much, but I am adding a little bit. If you cannot add any nuts and seeds into your diet, then just skip this part. You do not need it. It's just an added health bonus for whoever can consume it. So I am adding it in, because really it's very little overall, and I'm not too concerned about having the extra fat in the cookie. I'm more concerned with everyone getting enough omegas, and this is an easy way of sneaking things in by adding it into a cookie. I also sometimes, instead of adding flax, I do psyllium husks, and that also works perfectly well in this recipe and also gives it an extra fiber kick. So yeah, this is how it turned out, and you're just gonna have to mix it really well, and you are gonna find that it is not that liquidy. So it is kind of on the drier side, but don't stress about it. It's still gonna work perfectly. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that it's combined really well. And then you are going to put it on a baking tray and then make the cookies the size that you prefer. If you want mini cookies or little bites, that would be fine. I do quite large cookies sometimes. These ones are kind of like a medium size. I didn't go too crazy with these ones that I'm showing you guys. But I do make them quite large sometimes, and yeah, it still makes quite a bit of cookie with this mixture, and you can actually keep them in a container if you wanted to. You can leave them out. I've left them out for a few days and they're perfectly fine. And I usually keep them on a cake stand. That's where I put all of my baked goods, so they're easy and accessible for anyone to grab. If I do make a lot and I know that it shouldn't be out for too long, then I will keep some in an airtight container in the fridge, and they keep perfectly well for really quite a while. So you can make these ahead of time and keep them in the fridge, and that way you don't have to make them so often. So these are a great cookie to have as an alternative. I know a lot of people like to put bananas in, these oatmeal kind of type of cookies, which I do enjoy very much. But I know not everybody is a banana fan, and really they can't eat it if there's banana in it. So adding the pumpkin gives you a lot of extra nutrition. And sometimes this is, all you got to do, especially with kids. A lot of people don't like banana. I know it's crazy, but it's true. Not everybody likes banana, so you have to find some alternatives. And like I said, you could add other things like squash would work perfectly, sweet potatoes would work perfectly. Again, whatever you have on hand, use it in the recipe. These cookies are super versatile, and you can really mix it up a lot and change the ingredients up, and you will still get a perfectly healthy cookie. So I'm just shaping them, and I usually just use my spoon and shape it into a nice cookie. I know some people just plop their cookie down and that's it. I like to shape it and to kind of, round out the edges. That looks good enough, so I'm just going to pop that in the oven, and I put them in at 350. And again, the cooking time depends on how big the cookies are. So I will leave the full description of the whole recipe in the description box below, and that way you can see how long mine cooked for. But be mindful of how large or small your cookies are and adjust your temperature accordingly. Okay, so this is how the cookie turned out, and yeah, they turned out perfectly delicious and yummy, and I'm just letting them cool off for a couple minutes right on the pan, and then I'm going to transfer them to wherever I'm going to store them. Usually that's a cake stand for me, and it's domed, so it is covered, and that's where I'm going to transfer them. And it will get a little steamy in the dome because I'm actually putting them in a little bit warm. But that's okay, because I don't know, something about that moisture and covering up the cookies after, just makes them even yummier. So you do whatever you want. You can leave them uncovered if you prefer, but I do like to cover them up. I only let them cool off for a couple minutes just to get the initial heat off of them, and then I do go ahead and put them right into the container and cover them up, and they are just going to get really moist and delicious. So sometimes when I'm about to put them in the oven, I will give them an extra little sprinkling of cinnamon like I did on these ones, so they're extra cinnamony. You don't have to do that, but that's just what I like to do sometimes, just for that extra little kick of cinnamon. So yeah, these cookies took no time at all to whip up. The longest it took was for it to bake in the oven, and really it didn't take that long in the oven. It's just a really good recipe, to use up any leftovers. So Halloween, if you've got all these pumpkins you don't know what to do with, this is the perfect recipe. Just keep all of those extra pumpkins and puree it, keep it on hand, and that way you can make yummy cookies. Sweet potatoes, if you've got a lot of sweet potatoes and you don't know what to do with them, they're already cooked, don't throw them away. Make these cookies and replace the pumpkin with the sweet potato, and it will turn out perfectly. Yeah, so this is where I store it, just on my cake dish, and then I cover it up with the dome, and yeah, that is all I do. And they just stay on the table, and they are ready for anybody who wants a snack or just needs something on the go in the morning. They are ready to go. These cookies are so easy to whip up. I just absolutely love them. You know, I bake these ones just, you know, in between homeschooling my son. I'm baking cookies and throwing them in the oven. And you know what? Then we have something that's, you know, freshly made and delicious and super healthy to have as a snack. So sometimes in the evening, if I need a little snack, I will have something like one of these cookies with one of my teas. So on this night, I had a nighty night, which is a really, really nice tea. If you haven't tried that already, try finding it. It is so good. It's very calming and soothing. So that's what I'm going to have. And I'm going to enjoy my cookies with my tea and just have a little snack in the evening just to wind down and relax. So thanks so much for being here again this week, guys. Thanks so much for watching the video and for the support on the channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. That way you don't miss any upcoming content. So if you're new to the channel, I'll just give you a quick little overview of what you would find here. So on my channel, there are a lot of quick and easy recipes. They're not only quick and easy, but they also have a healthy twist to it. So I make things as healthy as possible, and I still want to have my taste and enjoy my food thoroughly. So I try to find a balance when I'm making these dishes. So you're going to find a lot of those recipes. You're also going to find a lot of health and wellness tips. Whatever I've learned along the way on my health and wellness journey, I like to share with you guys. Whatever works for me and whatever I found to be very helpful, I'll just share with you guys. And so you'll see a lot of videos like that as well. And in between those videos, you'll probably find some of my gardening videos because I do like to grow as many veggies as possible when the weather is nice. So you'll find those as well. And then also maybe some crystal videos thrown in there as well because the community has requested them. So yeah, please consider subscribing to the channel, and that way you can join our community. Thanks again for being here. Stay healthy, everyone, and I'll see you soon.